Hey everybody, Nick Espinoza, your chief security fanatic here, and today we have to talk about Meta, aka Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, everything that they own, because a new lawsuit basically is claiming that Meta and all of its universe is not really addressing child exploitation or sex trafficking in any real way. Now, this is an article coming from Reuters, and before we dive in, if you're a longtime watcher, listener, follower, even quasi listener, follower, all that kind of stuff, you know that I am no fan of social media in general. I've gone after Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg for a litany of different things, and I want you to keep that in the back of your mind as I lay all of this out for you, because I've got some words and I regarding this that I think are important. Now, with that, let's dive into the Reuters article for the background. A new lawsuit is accusing Mark Zuckerberg and other Meta executives and directors of failing to do enough to stop basically sex trafficking and child sex exploitation on both Facebook and Instagram. Now, this complaint was made public this past Monday by several pension and investment funds that own Meta stock, and said that Meta's leadership and board have failed to protect the company and its shareholders' interests by turning a blind eye to quote-unquote systemic evidence of criminal activity. Now, given the board's failure to explain how it tries to root out the problem, quote, the only logical inference is that the board has consciously decided to permit Meta's platforms to promote and facilitate sex/human trafficking, end quote. That is according to the complaint. Now, Meta obviously is rejecting the basis for this lawsuit, which was filed in Delaware's Chancery Court. Quote, we prohibit human exploitation and child sexual exploitation in no uncertain terms. The claim in this lawsuit mischaracterized our efforts to combat this type of activity. Our goal is to prevent people who seek to exploit others from using our platform, end quote. Now, back in June of 2021, the Texas Supreme Court allowed 3 people who became entangled with their abusers through Facebook to sue, saying that Facebook was not a, quote, lawless no man's land, end quote, immune from liability for human trafficking. In other words, a state Supreme Court has set the precedent to allow this lawsuit to continue. Meta also, on top of this, faces separately hundreds of lawsuits from families of teenagers and younger children who claim to suffer mental health problems by becoming addicted to Facebook and Instagram. Some school districts have also filed lawsuits over that exact same issue. This past Monday's lawsuit is actually a derivative case where shareholders are suing officers and directors who allegedly breached their duties. And that's essentially what we are talking about here. Now, I am 100%, obviously, as most of you listening to this, I would hope all of you, for the record, listening to this, against any kind of traffic, any kind of exploitation, child, adult, whatever it is. And it is absolutely abhorrent to me that social media can be used for this. And as you know, I am no fan of Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg. I would love to see these platforms shut down, as pretty much all social media at this point. But also understand there are billions of users on Facebook. And content moderation is an incredibly hard thing. Even with artificial intelligence, it is virtually impossible to put an army of people against this, basically an army of employees, if you will, or contractors that Meta could employ on Facebook and Instagram to weed these out. Understand that if you're looking at traffickers or people that are exploiting children or anything, they're not actually saying, hey, let's go exploit some children this weekend. They're using code words. They're putting up groups. They're talking essentially in unique nomenclature that an artificial intelligence isn't necessarily going to pick up. Now, that said, Meta, aka Facebook, Instagram, etc., could do a lot more. They could be looking for this essentially, at a much deeper level, tuning specific AIs, training these platforms in a way that they haven't trained it before, or even hiring more people to throw at it. And that is something that I think they need to do. You need to show all best effort and understand that, whether you're talking about a cybersecurity framework, whether you're talking about content moderation, whether you're talking about weeding out anybody on Facebook that is committing a crime. And again, I've done videos on the war crimes, literal war crimes that Facebook has facilitated, basically through stolen artifacts in war zones, the genocide in Myanmar, which was fueled over disinformation that was spread rapidly through Facebook. They are not innocent by any stretch of the imagination on a litany of sins, including this one. But I also understand just how difficult it would be to try to police a population of roughly 3 billion worldwide online, to weed out the 0.0001% of that 3 billion that are actually doing deeply criminal activity. That is a massive massive haystack and a very small needle. That said, you have to show due diligence, you have to show best effort, and I do think Facebook has not done that. And as soon as they do, maybe I'm changing my tone and giving them a little more credit. But quite frankly, they've always profited, or rather prioritized profit over everything else that they do, including cleaning up disinformation, including cleaning up crimes and everything else. So this is, I think, a lawsuit that needs to happen. We're going to see what happens with this, but I suspect that if you are part of this lawsuit, odds are you're going to be getting compensation from Facebook, because quite frankly, they could have done quite a bit more. And feel free to play this video in court. I'm happy to basically side with the plaintiffs on this one. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at NickAESP, where I will not be exploiting or trafficking anybody, and hopefully you are not as well. And also feel free to subscribe to me at YouTube as well. And as always, stay safe, stay online, and please attempt to stay private. Thanks, everybody.